Nobody tells you this. But the first thing that happens when you decide to rise is isolation. They show you the cars, the watches, the body, the power, but they don't show you the silence. The nights where it's just you, your thoughts, and the crushing weight of being misunderstood. You decide to change, and suddenly you're the villain. Your friends stop calling, your girl doesn't recognize you anymore. Your family starts saying, "You're obsessed. Why don't you just relax a little?" Because relaxing is what got me here. Because average is a fucking disease, and I refuse to catch it. Here's the brutal truth. Growth is betrayal. You betray who you used to be. You betray comfort. You betray weakness. And in doing that, and you'll lose people, a lot of them, but let them go. If your elevation offends their comfort, they were never meant to come with you. The first week you wake up at 5 a.m. feels like death. Your body screams, your mind rebels. No one texts you, no one claps. You stare in the mirror and ask, "Is this even worth it?" And deep down, a whisper answers, "Keep going." Not because it feels good, but because quitting would mean you're still that same soft version of yourself. And you didn't start this to stay the same. You don't become a savage in the light. You become one in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments where no one is watching, but you show up anyway. That's the secret. You're not building a six-pack. You're building a mind that doesn't quit. You're building a soul that doesn't fold. You're building a legacy that's forged in hell. Because here's what nobody tells you. Every powerful man you admire went through a season where he had nothing but hunger and hatred. They fed off disrespect. They used loneliness as fuel. They smiled through betrayal, and they rose. You want that kind of power? Then welcome the silence. Welcome the pain. Stop asking for company on a path that was meant to be walked alone. This society trained you to crave validation, to post your progress, to beg for approval. Fuck that. You don't need a pat on the back. You need to become undeniable. You want respect? Then walk through the fire. With no witnesses. You want power? Earn it in the dark. Earn it when no one claps. Earn it when even you doubt yourself. That's where monsters are born. And here's the part no one wants to hear. No one is coming. Not your mom, not your coach, not your boys, not your girl. They've got their own battles, and even if they care, they can't fight yours. So now it's just you, the waits, the early mornings, the late nights, the silence, and the discipline to keep going, and even when no one's watching. And that's more than enough, because one day they're gonna act like they always believed in you. They'll repost your wins. They'll say, "I always knew he had it." But you will remember. You'll remember they were silent when you needed them, gone when you were bleeding. So don't do it for them. Do it because you made a fucking promise to yourself. A promise no man, no setback, no storm will ever break. You're not doing this for applause. You're doing this for war. And war is always fought alone. I made a promise I can't break. Let me tell you something they won't teach you in school. A man is only as strong as the promises he makes to himself and keeps. I'm not talking about promises to others. Those are easy. You say what they want to hear. Buy yourself time. Dodge accountability. But the promises you whisper in your own head at 2 a.m., the ones you make after your fifth failure, bleeding confidence, broken pride, those are sacred. You said you'd change. You said you'd stop quitting. You said this time would be different. But here you are again, falling back into old patterns, letting weakness negotiate with your destiny. Why? Because no one's watching? Because no one will call you out? Fuck that. The man you want to be is watching. And every time you break that promise, you're spitting in his face. I made a promise to myself when I had nothing. Not when I was winning. Not when I had clout. Not when people were cheering. I made that promise in the dirt, hungry, angry, forgotten, and I meant it. I swore I would never go back to being that man who begged for approval, that man who waited for permission, that man who blamed the world for his failures. You see, the world doesn't owe you shit, Tom. And the minute you accept that, you become lethal. Because when no one owes you anything, you stop waiting and you start taking. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not broken. You're unfocused. You're not unlucky. You're uncommitted. That's the truth. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a mirror and a moment of honesty. What did you promise yourself? Where did you say you'd be by now? And why the fuck aren't you there? The reason most men stay weak is because they treat their promises like suggestions, but not me. Not anymore. I treat every promise I make to myself like a blood contract. Because that's what it fucking is. If I say I'm going to get up at 4:30, I get up. If I say I'm going to train, I train. If I say I'm going to win, I win or die trying. There is no plan B. There's no maybe tomorrow. There's just war. And war doesn't care about your excuses. Do you know what happens when you finally keep that promise? You become dangerous. Not to others, to your own weakness. To the version of you that used to flinch, quit, doubt. That version starts to die. And a different animal takes its place. One that wakes up hungry. One that thrives in chaos. One that doesn't need validation, approval, or applause. Only purpose. So if you're watching this right now and you're thinking of quitting, again, stop. Think back to that moment, that day you hit rock bottom and said, "This ends now." Was that just a moment of emotion or was it a real decision? Because if it was real, you don't get to quit now. You don't get to rewrite your word with weakness. You made a promise. And real men honor their word. Even when no one else does. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. I made a promise I can't break, and neither should you. Pause this for a second, close your eyes and remember that promise. Feel it. Now ask yourself, are you living like a man who honors his word or just pretending? If it hurts, good, that means you still give a damn. Drop a fire in the comments if you're still standing. Like this video if you've made a promise to yourself. And hit subscribe, because the war has just begun. Now hit play. Let's keep going. If you still need motivation, you're already losing. I get this question all the time. How do I stay motivated? You don't. Motivation is for civilians, it's a spark. But I'm not here to spark a flame, I'm here to burn. If you still need motivation, you're already losing. Because life doesn't reward men who feel like doing it. It rewards men who do it anyway. You think the wolf gets motivated to hunt? You think the lion gets pumped up to kill? Number they hunt because they're wired to win. Because survival isn't a mood, it's a mission. That's how you need to think. You don't go to war because you feel like it. You go because it's what you were built for. Every second you wait for motivation is a second your enemy is training. Every excuse you justify is a repeat your opponent finishes. And while you scroll for motivation videos, he's sharpening his teeth. Let me be clear. If you need motivation, it's because you haven't suffered enough. You're still comfortable. You still think you have time. You still think someone's coming to help you. They're not. When your back is truly against the wall, you don't need a quote. You don't need a playlist. You move. Because you have to. Because it's either become something more or rot in the same place forever. That's the problem with this generation. They're addicted to dopamine, not discipline. They want the feeling, not the fight. They want to manifest bunur, but they don't want to bleed. You think you're going to build a legacy by vibing your way through life? Wake up. Legacy requires blood, sweat, isolation, rejection, pain, and no. It won't feel good, but it will feel right. You think I wake up every day excited to work? You think I train because I'm inspired? Number, I do it because I said I would. Because I don't negotiate with weakness. Because I made a choice a long time ago. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. If you're looking for a secret, here it is. You don't rise when you're inspired. You rise when you're disciplined. When you've trained your mind to stop needing a reason. You act, because acting is who you are. The world belongs to those who move in silence, who show up when no one's clapping, who keep swinging even when they're bleeding. Because eventually, the results become louder than the excuses, and by the time the world notices you, you'll already be untouchable. So here's your new rule. No more motivation, only mission. You wake up, you work, you hurt, you work, you fail, you work harder. That's how legends are built, not in comfort, not in feelings, but in fire. You want to be powerful? Then train your mind to show up. No. Matter. What? Because if you still need motivation, you're not ready to lead. You're not ready to dominate. You're not ready to win. But if you're still here, if you're still listening, maybe you are. Maybe deep down, you know it's time to stop needing and start becoming. Pain is the price of becoming. You want to become someone powerful? You want to walk into a room and feel the ground shift? Then understand this. You don't get there without pain. Pain isn't a punishment. Pain is the fucking fee. It's the toll you pay for greatness. It's the entrance exam for every man who wants to evolve. But here's the twist. Most people avoid pain like it's a disease. They numb it. They run from it. They medicate it. And in doing so, they stay exactly where they are. Soft, fragile, replaceable. Not you. You're different. You don't run from pain. You walk toward it. Fists clenched, jaw locked. Every transformation has a cost. You want a better body? Welcome the pain of the gym. You want discipline? Embrace the pain of saying no when your cravings scream yes. You want a better life? Then fall in love with being uncomfortable. Because pain is your training partner. It's your teacher. It's the part of you that says not yet, bleed more, earn this. Most men want results without scars, success without sacrifice, strength without struggle, but there is no glory without suffering. Every powerful man you know has bled, broken bones, shattered confidence, lonely nights, public failure. They've been laughed at, dismissed, crushed, and yet they didn't fold. They didn't disappear. They rebuilt, stronger, sharper, hungrier. Because pain didn't break them. It built them. Let me tell you what pain really is. It's the echo of growth, the proof that you're alive, the reminder that you're not soft like the rest, that you're still in the fight, still evolving, still earning your place in this world. I remember times I could barely breathe, times where life hit me so hard I thought I wouldn't get up. But every time, I chose pain. I chose to feel it. I let it burn through me, and when the fire was done, something new came out. A version of me that didn't beg, didn't break, didn't ask for fucking permission. That's what pain does. It kills the parts of you that are weak, strips away the lies you tell yourself, and what's left is real, raw, untouchable. So the next time pain shows up, don't curse it, thank it. It means you're in the process. It means you haven't quit. It means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Here's the deal. If it doesn't hurt, it's not real. If it doesn't test you, it won't transform you. And if you don't suffer for it, you'll never respect it. You want peace? Fight for it. You want freedom? Bleed for it. Because no man becomes legendary by accident. Only those who endure the fire walk out forged in steel, so the next time it hurts, smile. You're becoming. And no one can take that from you. You know, your past doesn't define you, but it's trying to. The past is a liar. It whispers in your ear like it knows you. like it owns you. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing it. You'll start thinking your mistakes are your identity, that the people who left define your value, that your failures are permanent stamps on your soul. Bullshit. Your past doesn't define you, but it's trying to. Every day, it shows up like a shadow, dragging your shame, your guilt, your doubt like a fucking anchor. But here's the truth. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become, in spite of it. So maybe you fucked up. Maybe you lost years chasing the wrong goals, the wrong people, the wrong version of yourself. So what? You're not dead. And if you're not dead, you're not done. You're just raw, wounded, awake. The world will try to remind you who you were. They'll pull up your past like a receipt. Look what you did. Remember when you failed. Who do you think you are now? You know who I am? I'm the man who didn't quit when everyone expected him to. The man who crawled out of the wreckage and kept building. The man who stopped apologizing for his own evolution. You don't owe anyone your guilt. You don't owe anyone your old self, and you damn sure don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're rising. Listen to me. Your past is not a prophecy. It's a lesson, a warning, a grave you crawled out of, not a home you live in. And if you want to move forward, stop giving CPR to the parts of you that tried to die. Some of you are still carrying shame that isn't even yours. Things your parents said, things your ex did, things teachers made you believe. You're walking through life like you owe an apology for being alive. Let that shit go. Nobody builds a future dragging a corpse. And that's exactly what your past becomes, and when you refuse to bury it, you want peace, face it. Not run, not numb, not deny. Face it, say on yes, I was that man once, but that man doesn't get to lead anymore. Then take the wheel and drive so far forward, even your shadow has to run to catch up. The most dangerous version of you is not the one that's perfect. It's the one that's honest. The one that says, I've made mistakes, manam, and I own them, but they don't own me. That man is bulletproof because once your past stops scaring you, nobody else can either. You think the legends didn't have demons? They just refused to let those demons drive. They used the pain as power, the guilt as grit. They built something unbreakable out of the very things that once shattered them. You have a choice. Keep replaying your regrets like a broken record, or write something new, something louder, stronger, unforgettable. You don't have to be who you were, but you do have to decide who the fuck you're gonna be now. And whatever you do, don't look back. You're not going that way. I don't want balance, I want power. Let them chase balance. Let them chase comfort, moderation, mediocrity dressed up as wellness. I don't want balance. I want power, not control over others, none control over myself, over my mind, my body, my future. Balance is a trap for men too, afraid to go all in. It sounds noble, sounds mature, but really it's just a pretty word for playing small, for negotiating with fear, for keeping one foot in the fire and the other in the fucking escape route. You think Spartans lived in balance? You think warriors trained for peace? No, they trained for war, built themselves for chaos, for discipline, for domination, and they didn't ask for permission. They took what was theirs. You've been lied to. They told you, slow down. Don't push so hard. Be realistic. Make time for pleasure. But here's what they never told you. Real pleasure comes from power. Power over your cravings. Power over your habits. Power over that voice in your head that tells you to quit. I'm not here to be balanced. I'm here to be unshakable, to be dangerous, to be the kind of man who walks into a room and makes cowards check their posture. Because I earned it. Through fire, through sacrifice, through war, and don't get it twisted. This isn't about ego, it's about responsibility. Because when you carry power, you carry people, you carry your name, your legacy, your bloodline. You carry the ones who didn't have your strength, the ones who folded, the ones who died, with the music still in them. So no, I don't want balance. Balance doesn't wake you up at 4 a.m. Balance doesn't keep you grinding while the world sleeps. Balance doesn't make you unstoppable. Purpose does, fire does, legacy does. I want to live with such intensity that the man I used to be can't even recognize me. I want to become so strong that pain becomes my fuel and fear becomes my compass. And here's the twist. I still feel doubt. I still feel fear. I still fight weakness every fucking day. But I don't surrender to it. I use it. I alchemize it. Because power isn't the absence of pain. It's the decision to rise anyway, to roar through it, to dominate despite it. So if you've made it this far, if you're still breathing or still fighting or still watching, you're not average. You're chosen. Chosen to lead. Chosen to break the cycle. Chosen to show the world what happens when a man finally says, enough. So here's your call to action. If this hit your soul, then you know you've got something inside you that's been waiting to wake up. Don't just watch, respond. Drop "I'm built for this" in the comments if you're done living on your knees. Like this video if you're ready to rewrite your story. Subscribe if you finally decided to lead, because this isn't just a video, it's a fucking movement.